It is appropriate. Okay. Hi, Reed, if you're still there. I see you in there. And welcome, welcome, welcome to Association Chat this week. Hi. We have 2 cameras and we have 1 fantastic guest. So welcome to Association Chat, where we warm ourselves by the virtual fire with thought leaders and trailblazers alike to join up in this online home for the association community. I'm your host, Kiki L'Italienne, and with me today is Nancy Belmont. Nancy is just absolutely, she's phenomenal. She is, the word that just came to mind, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, she is a kick-ass woman who is able to do so much. I have gotten the chance to get to know her. I consider Nancy a very good friend. And also, Nancy has done so many amazing things that her latest thing that she's here to talk to you about today is something that I think everyone here can really learn from. And with that, I'm just going to tease it like that and go into talking to Nancy herself. So welcome, Nancy.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so glad we're together. Yes.
So that was kind of a weird intro, but I'm weird, and I wanted to be able to, share a little bit about why I'm so excited that you're here. But you have this new wellness initiative, and you're all about wellness, and you're really all about bringing out wellness in people, wellness in workplaces, wellness in the world. You always have been, as long as I've known you. And so what I wanted to do is talk to you a little bit about the importance of that today, and then what this initiative is. And it's this thing called breathr.
It is.
It is this thing called breathr. So talk to me about it.
Great. Well, you know how people are just stressed out. People are stressed out.
They are
in organizations,
no.
right? So you can feel it too. You can walk through an organization and you can feel the vibe as being really stressed.
Yes.
And there are all these statistics about how stressed out people are, how much anxiety there is in the workplace, and how we're losing money in the workplace because people are showing up, or they're not showing up. They're taking sick days. They have stress-related illnesses. They have loss of productivity. So we feel this all around us whenever we go into a workplace. And the workplaces are spending, there's a stat that they're spending $48 billion in workplace wellness to take care of this problem.
And what is this part, what goes into that $48 billion?
So there are things like on-site immunizations, you might get flu shots at the office.
Yeah.
It could be things like bringing yoga into the office. So there are some stress relieving things, putting a meditation room in. But what we've seen is so few of those meditation rooms, or these, like even yoga in the workplace, they're underattended. People aren't taking advantage of them, and people are still stressed out.
Yeah, and I have to admit that one of the associations I used to work for years ago had one of these wellness initiatives where they had a program. They brought in a yoga instructor. It was amazing. I loved it. I thought it was great. But there were about 10 of us that would go, and we had over 100 people who were on site there with that association. And so I know that percentage-wise, it really wasn't hitting everyone. I was thankful for it, but what you're talking about today is something that maybe hits a higher percentage for more.
We hope so, right? Because the problem, it's not a problem. We love yoga in the workplace.
Yeah,
it should be there. I do yoga every day, and it's a really important part of my wellness.
Yeah, you're able to do a headstand, right?
I can do a headstand. I can do a handstand. I can do a forearm stand, but it takes practice, years of practice. But it's fun to go upside down.
Right.
So you're right. Only a very few people can take advantage of something like yoga in the workplace. First of all, it takes like an hour. You got to get changed, and then you get a little sweaty, and then maybe you want to shower, and that's an hour. Or you're like, oh, I was going to go, but then I had this meeting pop up, so I can't go.
Right.
So we wanted to create a better solution and something that's much more flexible, so that businesses can just stop losing so much money to workplace stress. And so we've created. Ta-da! So it's called breathr, and it's based in virtual reality. And virtual reality, a lot of people are like, oh, what is that? I've never tried on a headset. Well, they're hopefully becoming much more prominent, and we'll be seeing them a lot more. Mark Zuckerberg, you may have heard of this guy. He has said that he has a commitment to have 1 billion people in VR, and I feel like if Mark Zuckerberg is behind it, it's probably something that's going to happen. But what our solution really is to get these into workplaces. And so you could take a break whenever you want. You could take a 5-minute break. And what happens when you step into this thing? You get whisked away. You've done it.
I've done it. And I can tell you what my experience was that I put it on, and it has headphones that you can attach with it. And I was able to choose my environment that I was in and turn my head every direction I looked. I could turn, and the scene changed, and it was, I had a choice between like a dock and water. There was, what else was there?
It's like
there
a
was
moonlit hillside is
yeah.
my favorite. So you see the Milky Way, and you see these fireflies kind of randomly.
It was, and what was really great is, and I think it's noise canceling headphones, because we were in a really busy we were in Misha's, and a really busy coffee shop, tons of people around, every table full. And I was in another world, totally different world. And what was really cool was that from within the headset, by my movements, I was able to control what I did next and what I was selecting. So it was really interesting. And I wish everybody could test it out. I'm actually thinking about doing a demo day soon. So
yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Because it really is hard to imagine how fully immersed you feel when you get in there. And you know, there are apps on your phone that are like Headspace and Calm are pretty popular, and they're being sold as an enterprise solution right now. And they're great, but I know that when I started to have a mindfulness practice, I would do those.
Yeah.
And I would set the timer for 5 minutes, and I would say, okay, I would peek, and I would say, how much time? And then I would see all these texts that have come up on my phone. Yes. Or I would see a calendar appointment. I'm like, oh man, I only have 10 minutes before that. And it actually wasn't relaxing for me. It was kind of stressful. And so, you know, I'm a leadership coach, and I talk to a lot of people about how can they become more effective leaders. And I always ask, do you have a daily mindfulness practice? Do you have a daily physical practice? Because it really is a whole body that we have to take care of. It's not just our mind. You know, if we want to be effective in the workplace or anywhere in life, we have to take care of this whole ecosystem. And what I hear over and over again from leaders is, I really should. I've seen the stats on meditation. It's powerful. I know that I get a lot out of it, but I can't. I can't sit there for even 5 minutes and not think of anything. Which, first of all, that's not really the goal of meditation. It's to notice what you're thinking and let those thoughts move on. But what I think Breathr does is it really is a bridge for people who want to start some sort of a mindfulness practice, who want to experience the benefits of it, which can be greater clarity, lower stress, better resilience, more strategic thinking, and they don't know how. And so by being whisked away to a beach, they create space for themselves to let go of some of the stress and breathe in some of that creativity that's naturally in all of us.
See, I love that, because one of the things that we haven't talked about, and that may not be something that you think of right off the bat, but maybe some of you do, is that when I had spinal surgery, going to a yoga class was not an option for me for a while. And so people would say, oh, you know, you need to do low impact, take up yoga. And I'm like, I can't do a whole lot with my neck, right? Like for the next several months. And so I'm always paying attention to things where it would allow me, if I had that issue again, I think once you go through something like that, you're more aware of it, where I could find a way to sort of, you know, have a relaxation, have a relaxing moment where I'm able to meditate and feel like I'm doing something for myself that maybe, if my mobility is constricted or something like that, allows me that ability to feel like I'm able to move more there than I am, you know, maybe in my own body. So that was something that I thought was really interesting about that experience. Talk to me a little bit about the headsets and how this works with organizations, because you already were interested and doing, and your whole life is built around this idea of bringing wellness to the world. And so what's your mission statement again? I love it.
It's to make the tools of leadership and consciousness accessible to all people.
Yes.
And that accessible piece of it is something that I'm really passionate about. And so I do things like public art projects to help, elementary school students get some of the education that I got when I went to coaching school.
She has these interactive public art projects that are amazing. And actually there's an interview you can check out on Association Chat from before where I interviewed you about that.
Yeah.
Remarkable. I mean, just absolutely remarkable. But then this is accessing the workplace in new ways where,
I think people used to have a smoke break.
Yeah.
And that used to be really common. And if you think about the mechanics of a smoke break, you'd go outside, so you'd have a change of scenery, you'd be in nature, and you'd take deep breaths.
Mm-hmm.
And it was timed somewhat because you had a certain length of your cigarette.
Yeah.
But physiologically, aside from causing cancer, the smoke break was good for you to be able to take a reset because you were in nature and you were taking deep breaths. So think about taking a break like that where you are in nature as much as you can be. Like your mind actually doesn't know the difference between virtual reality and reality. So if you're in the middle of a forest in virtual reality and you spend 5 minutes there, when you remember that, your brain thinks that you were in the forest.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
So you're getting outside, and then in here, you can choose audio guided sessions, or you can choose just quiet, or you can choose music. And so some of the meditations are related to breath and helping you take those deeper breaths. There's a lot of research now about optimizing your oxygen inside of your brain and in your body for high performance. And if we're not consciously taking breath, generally what happens is that our breaths get really shallow. And so when we're cued to take deeper breaths and really fill up our lungs and then let it go, there's something physiologically that happens inside of us to help us be higher performers. So yes, I want to get this into the workplace so that we can be more effective and we can be, we can really shine at what we love to do. I mean, we spend so much time in the workplace. Don't we want to be strategic and creative and productive and resilient and be the best leaders that we can be?
Well, what I like about it is that I feel like if my workplace were to have something like this, if there's okay, this is the location where you can go and you can check out a headset or whatever and go and that's your official time. Somehow it feels like it's an easier thing to explain than if I'm just sitting somewhere and
with your eyes closed.
With my eyes closed, and people are like, oh, well, Kiki's sleeping on the job or something, and it's like we're all supposed to be these more productive, fit, well people. And yet there's this idea that we can't be seen as, oh my gosh, she's taking a nap. What is she doing? Oh, she's sleeping on the job. But if we had something like this, it would be something where it's like, okay, this is an approved, type of meditation where people know what you're doing. They know what you're not sleeping something off from the night before. You're able to actually, this is Kiki trying to be more effective at her job,
Right. And I think the culture of the workplace is really important for this. So, as we're starting to get this out into the workplace, we want to work with organizations that already have some wellness programs in place because there has to be a commitment to well-being within an organization, or it might be looked upon like, oh, she's napping. So,
I just say that because I always stressed out about that. But, back when I used to, it's been years, I've been working from home for a while, but I used to worry about that. Whenever I would just stop for a second and just want to breathe, I thought, somebody's going to see me not working. Yeah. Why is that? I don't know. But
yeah, and that's one of the best things that we can do. There's a statistic that said 97% of leaders think that being strategic is the most important part of their job, and 96% of leaders say they don't have time to be strategic. And so, it doesn't really take that much time to be strategic. When do you have some of your best thoughts? When you're in the shower?
Yeah,
right, when you're in the shower.
Or driving, when I'm not paying attention to anything else.
when you're not paying attention and when you're not actually thinking, that's when the inspiration hits.
Yeah.
And so why not create more of those moments throughout your day that you can have those big, bold, wonderful thoughts that could change everything.
One thing when we were I got to play with the headset, I got to try it out. Very, very cool. One thing that I was thinking about and that we talked about the other day was when you go to some of these conferences, they have the Zen rooms. If you're lucky, they have a Zen room. And you can go in and maybe they might have a few meditations that are at specific times, like guided meditation. And I thought that that was really amazing. But when I went to the conference I went to that had a really great room for this set up, I was glad that they had it. Mm-hmm. But my schedule never allowed for me to be there whenever the guided meditation was happening.
Right.
So what came to mind was that having some of these available at something like one of those types of deals, like in a Zen room at a conference, would also be something that would be good.
Oh, it would be great. I've been to some conferences and it's just, there's so much noise and so much stimulation. And then you just can't be fresh when you're talking to people.
Yeah, you hit that wall, the conference wall.
Yeah.
You know?
And so if there were a way to just get off your feet at a conference, first of all, that's just glorious, isn't it? But to be able to step outside and just have those few minutes to take some breaths and reset. Yeah, I agree. I mean, your audience here with associations, yes. I mean, you all have conferences and events and all sorts of things. Yeah. And speaking of associations, should we talk about SHRM for a minute?
Let's talk about SHRM. Okay, yes. And actually, tell them about SHRM. And I'm going to look up here to try to read what the comments are. Okay. This 2-camera system is not working great.
It's kind of far away.
It's very far away, so I'm sorry if you're looking at my nose, you guys. But I'm going to check out some of the comments that are up here. And if you have comments or questions on the Crowdcast platform, go ahead and type those in and tell them about the SHRM situation, because you were actually at their conference, right?
We went to their diversity and inclusion conference that was in the fall in New Orleans, and we'll hopefully be going into the big SHRM conference out in San Diego coming up here. But SHRM has started this really interesting thing called Paragon Labs. And what they're doing is they are looking to connect HR tech startups with people in HR. Out in the field, out in the wild.
That's so cool.
So that we can introduce what we're doing in terms of innovation to people who actually need the innovations. And they can give us feedback. They can, they can get the hottest new stuff. And so it's this really cool partnership. We're one of the first startups in Paragon Labs and are really proud of the partnership that we're developing with SHRM. And it's a lot of fun. The people running Paragon Labs are great. The other startups are really interesting. So I would encourage you to check it out on SHRM's website, to go to, I think it's shrm.org/Paragon Labs. If I don't have that right, are you able to put this in the notes?
Update it. Okay. I will send out in the show notes what that is. And Becky says, how can we find out more information and demo breathr?
Excellent question. I'm so glad she asked.
I'm so glad you asked.
So the one thing, this is probably backwards for you all, but it's breathr with no E at the end. So breathr.com.
Okay.
Simple website.
Yes.
You can follow us on social at breathr on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And you can reach out to me if you want a demo. You can reach out through breathr.com or just send an email to it's a little complicated, Nancy@takeabreathertoday.com.
Oh, no.
It'll never happen. So just reach out through the breathr website or ping me on social media and I'll be happy to reply.
Yes. And I also have to say that Nancy has some articles that are going to be coming out through the Association Chat website. So if you subscribe to the mailing list on the Association Chat website, you're going to be getting her articles as they come in. And so that's a big part of the excitement for February. The new website is getting launched. February, we're focused on the heart, and that means improving your relationships, improving your own well-being. And so be looking forward to that, I guess.
Yeah, I'll be talking about leadership. I'll be talking about well-being, taking care of yourself, loving yourself so that you can give more to other people.
All right. Well, anybody have any questions? Any other questions? No. You don't think so? Have any final thoughts for them?
I think the last thought is just really, breather or no breather. I would love for you to check out breather. I would love for you to have it in your workplace and share it with your members too. But even if you don't buy breather, it is so important to have a mindfulness practice.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, stress hits you so differently when you're able to let go of the stress that's building up inside of you. When you've got stress inside of you, it causes dis-ease, which causes disease. And that's why stress turns into loss of productivity. It turns into sick days. It turns into cardiac disease. And so you have to find a way to let go of that stress. And whether it's breather or whether it's taking a breath or whether it's having some other mindfulness practice, I urge you to take care of yourselves, to urge your employees to take care of themselves, because it is not only going to be creating a better workplace, but it's going to create a better world.
Well said. I will say that that's one of the things that I've been doing for 2020 is really trying, true admission, the only class that I withdrew from in college was a mindfulness class that was focused on, just something I wanted to take to learn about mindful meditation, and I couldn't do it.
So hard.
It was hard for me, and I thought, oh, I've got all this other stuff I need to be doing. And I always thought that was really funny that it was the one class that I just couldn't do. And so this year I finally decided that I'm going to make it a practice. I'm just really going to give myself a little bit of time to breathe and to find that time, usually early in the morning, but if no other time, then right before bed, something where I can just take the time to breathe. And surprisingly, it just doesn't even take hardly. It's unbelievable how many times I find myself holding my breath or racing through and just not taking a chance to breathe deeply. And when I do, when I just stop and I'm still for just a little bit, my mind just starts working so much better. I come up with a million more ideas. I feel better about things. And it really calms me down. So that's all to say that it's progress, not perfection. It's
always
it's something where you're always working at it. But I really appreciate you talking a little bit about the importance of mindfulness, the importance of meditation, the importance of thinking about wellness in the workplace, because I think that's something we all need to worry more about.
I mean, we're demanding so much out of our employees right now. We're expecting that they work so many hours, they do so many things, and reply instantaneously to all these messages while being strategic, and we are not built like that.
No.
We have to find mechanisms to let go of stress. I walk my dog and she's crazy when she sees another dog. She goes totally crazy. But then what does she do after she gets done with that? She shakes it off. And that's animals have that built in.
They're able to do that.
But we humans don't. And so we retain all that cortisol inside of our bodies, and it just adds up unless we find ways to let go of it. So yes, let it go.
Let it go. Well, thank you so much for joining us today to talk a little bit about this. Nancy shared the way that you could contact her many different ways. And if you do nothing else today, then take the time, make the time to allow yourself to pause, take a deep breath and look around, maybe enjoy life a little bit. And then think about what you can do on a regular basis in your own workplace to bring in that mindfulness, to bring in a sense of just a moment of quiet, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just take a breather.
Take a breather. Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. And keep asking questions to learn every day. As Joseph Campbell once said, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Have a great week, everybody. Yay, we're done. We're done.